Hey guys, this video you're about to watch will make you to understand that the injustice against Igbos, the marginalization, the intimidation against the Igbos never started today. But the worst part of it is that these decent people who are marginalizing them, who are intimidating them, do not still want them to speak out. It's just like he beat speaking. You can't still use your hand to cover a mouth. It doesn't make sense. This man was a colonel. Una go hear wetin he talk. This one go make you share tears. So when you see people who are agitating for Biafra nation, not just begin they talk wetin you anything when you just like they are this, they are that, they are this. They don't say everything they have, study everything that Nigerian government even told eternity to come. They will never stop this intimidation. Well, I will drop this video. All of us go watch and together. But before then, guys, I want to say a very big thank you for always coming out here. May God Almighty bless you all. I still want to use this opportunity to put a disclaimer to Prospect Channels TV. Okay, that in this TV channel, we don't promote hate speech. We don't sponsor misleading information. We don't preach violence, none. War. What we do here is we educate, we inform people what is happening around us, internationally and locally. That is what we do. So I want you to take note of that. So guys, let me drop this video and let's see and hear what this man have said and the shocking things he has revealed. Please don't forget to share, don't forget to like, and don't forget to subscribe if this is your first time of coming out here. Thank you.
An Igbo man is being killed today. Many people won't bat an eyelid. Whereas if it's somebody else, they will start crying out. I was expecting Nigerians to come out and speak against the question of pushing Igbos out of the system. Igbos form a part of the tripod in this country. You can't push them away. In fact, Igbos form the largest ethnic nationality in Nigeria. And I stand to be corrected. And yet they are being treated as commoners, as though they don't exist. It was called Igbo Coup from day one. As soon as the coup took effect on the 15th of January 1966, BBC came out with a pronouncement that 5 Igbo majors did a coup in Nigeria, trying to seize power. That is why I wrote a book titled, I wrote this book in prison, Kirikiri. It was not an Igbo coup. There are other coups in this country after that. You don't name a coup after those in the majority. You should investigate the coup first. Because if anybody did the investigation, you would see that they might call it a Yoruba coup. Because it was only Awolowo that was standing to gain from that coup. Gowon is not saying a word. When he has opportunity to talk, he says, I don't want anybody to do anything about unity that will affect our unity. Unity is for the living, not for the dead. Dead people don't talk about unity. And therefore, what is important is that he should be a man.
Give us an overview of your life as a person.
Thank you. To start with, I am about 80 years old. 80 years old. In fact, by December this year, I will clock 80.
Oh, beautiful.
I believe I will be more because there were no registries when I was born. And if there were, nobody registered me.
Okay.
I chose the date I was born. In other words, when I was going for entrance exam in the 50s, I had to go and swear an affidavit as to my age. And I chose my age from my friends who were born about the same time.
Okay.
So my people told me. So I am about 80. I attended CIC Enugu and then joined the Nigerian Army in 1960. That is before independence. I joined the Nigerian Army when it was called Royal Nigerian Army, and I attended as a pioneer of the Nigerian Military Training College, which was at Kaduna. I attended it for 6 months, and from there I was chosen as one of the 5 people sent to Sandhurst. So I went to Sandhurst with Akine Ade, if you remember Akine Ade, who is now a Lieutenant General, Owakwe, who is already dead, Ihedibo, an ex-CIC, like myself, and a Romobo with me. These are the people who went to Sandhurst. Normally the best 5 were sent to Sandhurst, and I was lucky to be among the best 5. That's it. So we went to Sandhurst, and I want to be brief because I have a lot of things to say about myself, both right and wrong. So I went to Sandhurst. From there, I came back to Nigeria. No, I went to a place called Chatham,
Okay.
to do military engineering, and it was for 1 year. And after that, I came back to Nigeria, and Nigerian Army sent me to America. So I went to Fort Belvoir in Virginia to do career engineer officer career course. So that's what happened. After that, I came back to Nigeria in 1965, and lo and behold, things were not going well in the country. You remember the 1964 elections and all that? There were some reverberations with regard to the goings on in the country that were, not doing well for Nigeria. So I got involved in the coup of January 66, for which I was detained by Ironsi. I was detained in Lagos, Kirikiri, from Kirikiri to all sorts of prisons, including Enugu prison. And by July 1966, I was at Abakaliki prison. I wasn't the only one. We were about 28 of us anyway. So I was detained there. And then there was July coup. Unfortunately, the coup, second coup, came in July, end of July. That is after the emergence of Gowon became a fait accompli. So Ironsi was killed by Northerners who did the July counter coup. Ojukwu, who was the governor of the East, decided that he will release us from prison. So I was released with Nzogu and other people who were not killed by the Northern Turks when they struck in July 1966. And that is because we were held in the East. And typical of, coups, the counter coup, had no effect in Enugu. It had effect in Lagos, in everywhere except Enugu. And that was because some troops in 1st Battalion, which was at Enugu, heard about or had wind about the coup coming in, that's a counter coup, and seized the armory. The armory is where they kept arms. They seized it, and so when Northerners came to take over the armory, they were arrested. And those northerners, including Yaradua, the Yaradua that is dead now, a lot of them. And Ojukwu was consulted because at that time he was hiding in the police headquarters, but eventually he was consulted, and he used those people arrested, those northerners arrested, as a bargaining chip to get our people who were in the north, who were arrested in the north, released and brought home. The only thing is that when the northerners in the east were going home, they were allowed to go home with their personal weapons, whereas those of our people who were in the north, who were allowed to go, were not allowed to go with their personal weapons. In any case, and they were lucky they had their lives with them. So that's it. After that, then the war came. Gowon, who said to the world there was no basis for unity, fought a war of unity. In fact, brought war of unity to our doorstep. You understand?
Yeah.
Brought the war here, and that's why I don't have any regard for him, because he said there was no basis for unity. And in another breath, he talked about unity. He had reneged over the Aburi decision that no war should be used in solving Nigerian problem. Today, you can see what is happening in the political arena. Gowon is not saying a word. When he has opportunity to talk, he says, I don't want anybody to do anything about unity that will affect our unity. Unity is for the living, not for the dead. Dead people don't talk about unity. And therefore, what is important is that he should be a man and speak up against a man who is ruling this country wrongly. Because he was the one who imposed a war of unity on Nigeria. And many people died. Unfortunately, Nigerians don't have statistics as to how many people died either this way or that way. That is Nigeria for you. And anybody who cares can say anything and do anything and get away with it. Okay. That is not. So anyway, apart from the one saying basis of unity, we fought a war. I fought a war, and for which I got this wound. I got this wound at Abo after the 9th mile corner, and it's a machine gun wound, and it has its debilitating effect right now. That's why I'm traveling to see what can be done. Not that I want to continue living, because it doesn't bother me one way or the other. God's time is the best. Now, after the war, Gowon, the same Gowon said, no victor, no vanquished. But the same Gowon set up a board of inquiry headed by Adebayo. And the board of inquiry was to determine what we, ex-Nigerian army officers, did against Nigeria during the war. But he said no victor, no vanquished. And today, how are they treating us? There is victor, there is vanquished. Everybody knows that. All right? All right. So he set up that board of inquiry, and they determined that we should be rearrested and detained. And that's what I covered in the fall of Biafran. How they treated us. We went back to Kirikiri. First of all, Porakot prison, where they were giving us, I don't know. It's not good. I don't want to rewrite a book. Let's just live, sleeping dogs lie. So I went to detention 1970, 71, 72, 73, 74. We were in prison. No trial. But thanks to Dr. Tai Solari, you remember him?
Yeah.
He made a march from Ikene to Lagos, persuading Gowon to release us. There were people outside Nigeria who were bothered about our being continually,
Being detained.
detained. And even some people went to the United Nations to talk about us. But Nigerian government, Gowon's Nigerian government, no, there were no detainees in Nigeria. No detainees. And so we spent about 5 years in prison without trial. And when they were there to release us, it was Hassan Usman Katsina who received us at the Lagos Garrison Organization, and he said to us, look, from now on you can go, but don't enter any military barracks and all that. These are the people who said no Victor, no Vanquisho. And he released us, not even a kobo to any of us for transport home from Lagos. But you see, no man is an island. This God we serve, he knows everything. He sees everything. And I thank him. Because I'm here today talking about what experiences I have. There are people who haven't had that kind of experience.
Yes.
So I thank God. So after that, I came out, starting life afresh. I don't want to go into that anymore because it's an old story. So that is where it ended.
All right.
Until I started writing books. I am not very good at writing books because if I were good, I would have written more than 3. Actually, I have another book titled Figments and Nothing.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter. So,
All right, sir. Thank you so much. You're giving us an overview, a summary of a very wonderful life, full of experience. And we thank God for your life that you're still here with us to share your experience with us. Now, let's go down to the coup, because from the coup, or from the political instability in the West, which led to the coup, then from the coup to the genocide war,
yes,
then to the current Nigerian system, what we are experiencing now. Now, you talked about the coup or being co-opted into the coup. What led to the coup and all that? Give us an insider and personal experience of you being part of that coup and why it is called Igbo coup. And you wrote a book called 5 Measures.
Yeah, Nigeria's 5 Measures.
Nigeria's 5 Measures.
Thank you very much. The thing is, I don't want to repeat what I have already said in my book, but the point is, the coup came as a result of our taking exception to what was happening in Nigeria. People making nonsense. There's a former governor of the North who wrote lately that Nigeria is ripe for a coup. Did you read it?
Yeah, I think I saw it.
What's up? Yes. Nigeria is ripe for a coup. When people come and start messing up other people's lives, because some people are not serious about leadership. They are not serious. They are not serious about Boko Haram. They are not serious. And they don't even want to involve you. They are divisive. They are pushing you away instead of bringing you in. And yet we had fought a war of unity. Can you imagine it? It is unconscionable that you should find a war of unity, a war to keep Nigeria one and indivisible. And yet, somebody who calls himself a ruler or a leader is dividing the country, pushing people aside, saying this is not qualified or qualified. This is ridiculous. If an Igbo man is being killed today, many people won't bat an eyelid. Whereas if it's somebody else, they will start crying out. I was expecting Nigerians to come out and speak against the question of pushing Igbos out of the system. Igbos form the a part of the tripoid in this country. You can't push them away. In fact, Igbos form the largest ethnic nationality in Nigeria. And I stand to be corrected. And yet they are being treated as commoners, as though they don't exist.
Okay,
But you see, let me just say this. People say, oh, so the best thing is to ignore all those things and move on.
okay, but why was it called Igbo Coup? Now, who made it Igbo
I
Coup?
have already explained it in my book. It was called Igbo Coup from day one. As soon as the coup took effect on the 15th of January 1966, BBC came out with a pronouncement that 5 Igbo majors did a coup in Nigeria, trying to seize power. That is why I wrote a book titled, I wrote this book in prison, Kirikiri, even though we are not allowed to write, but it doesn't matter. So I wrote it, calling it Nigeria's 5 majors. But in the text, I explained that it was a wrong nomenclature given by BBC. In other words, I was castigating BBC for the word 5 majors. Because there were more than 5. There were in fact 8. The thing is, Igbos constituted at that time more than 60% of officer corps of the Nigerian army. So you would expect that most of the people to do a coup against the government should be in Igbo. It was not an Igbo coup. There are other coups in this country after that. You don't name a coup after those in the majority. You should investigate the coup first. Because if anybody did the investigation, you would see that they might call it a Yoruba coup. Because it was only Awolowo that was standing to gain from that coup. Only Awolowo was the political juggernaut that was gained from that coup.
The beneficiary of that coup.
Yes. And yet they say Igbo coup because it suited them to say it's an Igbo affair. But eventually, because I said I have been to Oputa panel, we've killed that matter. And somebody like Babangida said, we are now better informed. And most importantly, Ademoyega, a Yoruba, wrote a book titled Why We Struck. I recommend this book to all Nigerians.
Was he part of the coup?
Of course, Major Ademoyega was part of the coup.
Good.
Was one of the majors.
And he's a Yoruba?
Yes. And he said, he claimed in his book, Why We Struck. I'm saying it emphatically so that anybody can go and buy that book. It's in the bookshops. Incidentally, he's dead now, but the books are there. Okay, Why We Struck says, we are only 3 that did the planning of that coup. And he named them. Himself, Ademoyega, is from the University of London. He read history before joining the army. Nzogu, from Opanam, and Ima Ifajuna, 3 of them. Any other thing you hear? And they were to do that coup in 1961. But you see, they kept postponing it. And they had reasons to postpone these coups. Because if you are going to do a coup against, let's say, A, and A is not in the country, what do? Do a coup in Bakum? No, it's not done.
Okay. Now, you talked about the Oputa panel.
Yes.
And before we get to that point, because the Oputa panel was set up during the current dispensation, the democratic dispensation.
Under Obasanjo.
Under Obasanjo's
Yes.
presidential dispensation.
And Oputa panel recommended that Igbos should be apologized to and they should be compensated. I want to stand corrected. And of course, Obasanjo came out openly saying, my government will not apologize to anybody. and we will not pay compensation to anybody. He said it on TV, NTA.
So now, after the war, after that genocide war,
Yes.
many people, the videos are out there, what our people passed through, what you experienced, the kind of suffering, deprivation, air barricade and the land, sea blockade and all that, the
Yes,
that. Now, after that war, a victor, no victim,
no vanquish.
Yeah, was declared, and they called a program. They called 3 hours: the reconstruction, the rehabilitation, and the reintegration. How did that go?
How did it go?
Yeah.
How did it go? Sorry.
Yeah.
Now the point is this: even if we cry from here to thy kingdom come, if the government of the day doesn't want to do anything, it won't do anything. We will always be talking while they will be chopping. All I can tell you is, Gowon said they were going to have the 3 R's: rehabilitation, reconstruction, and whatever it is. What has he done? Boko Haram is being fought in the northeast today, but they have been reconstructing and rehabilitating them. Though the amount of money being voted, the one of Biafra that was fought how many years ago? It ended in 1970. Who has been rehabilitated? Nothing.
What have been reconstructed?
But you see, Obasanjo has given us a hint as what decisions they took after the war, because Obasanjo was the commander of that Marine Commando, and it was through them that the war ended. Okay? At Owerri. So he has given us a hint that they took a decision against Igbo, against Igbo. Yes. So we know. And let me tell you, it's not good to be crying like a baby. It's not. I know that Igbos can take care of themselves. That's why I detest the idea of anybody talking about want to be president. Why do you want to be president? President of what? We should know what is happening, sit down and talk, and decide on the modalities for moving forward. What we should do is not to cause another civil war, but to handle our fate, holding our fate in our own hands.
Okay.
Simple, and we can do it.
And okay, before we get to that, because I'm still going to come to that now, the issue of Biafra have resurrected. It seems the spirit of those who died during the Biafran war have come back to repossess even the children that never saw the war or had anything about the war.
That is the point.
And they are now shouting, Biafra, Biafra, Biafra. We want it now, not tomorrow. Yeah. Now, as a father who have seen it all, who was part of it, will you say that before that coup, or the incident before that coup, the coup and the war and after the war, and what is happening today in Nigeria, is there any difference? Or has it gotten worse?
Things are worse today than before. There is more crisis in Nigeria today than before. That, in fact, the only thing, the difference is the war itself. There's more crisis. Name any ethnic nationality. Talk about kidnapping. Talk about herdsmen. Talk about, good Lord. So I don't know where to start.
All right, sir. Honestly speaking, we have had a whole lot. It's just that we have little time, but we have extracted a lot of information and experience from you. Now, this resurgence of Biafra agitation, and you've, made a very important statement that the Igbos can find their footing.
Of course.
Now, and they are asking these young people for the fact that the situation then, the situation now is far worse.
Yes, much worse.
Now, and they are saying that they will want to be separated from Nigeria so that they can find their footing.
Separate.
And push for their own destiny in their own hands. With what Nigeria had done so far against Igbo, with the decisions and the conspiracy they've done and modeled that will make sure that an Igbo man will not flourish within the Nigerian space. Do you think that these young chaps, this young generation, they are correct or they are in right order saying we want to do everything possible to secure our homeland and flourish within our homeland without external forces and interference?
What I ask the youths to do is to make haste slowly. Don't rush into anything that you will regret. Okay. Don't rush into anything you will regret. Before you do anything, you must explore the chances you have of success.
Okay.
I am talking about, like some people talking about, we want presidency. Well, that is tall order. Why do you want presidency? Is it your father's property? This is rubbish. You can make Igbos think in this country. You can make Igbos take, T-I-C-K, in this country by human development. If you develop your own family and every other Igbo person does the same thing, and we're not doing badly already, you will find that you will be the cynosure of all eyes.
That's you are talking
there
about.
There are people now who go to Onitsha market to go and find, they come from the north to go to Onitsha market to find out what made these people who lost the war take.
And that is what people are talking about, Colonial, making this place
exactly. Okay. We should keep our place tidy. Tidy your own home. That is, put our acts together before we talk about each indoors.
Well, I think that is very important because some people are coming up with a campaign that our homeland should be secured.
That is
good governance, good development, economic development, human capital development, and all that should first of all be integrated into Igbo livelihood, their culture, and everything, so that they can.
In other words, we will put our place in order.
Okay.
Before we think of going outwards. So let us be human in our approach to human affairs. Because there's another thing I want to say in that respect. The white man says 10 different things are not necessarily any more different than 5 different things. Do you want me to
explain further?
Expatiate? Good. Nigeria is like an octopus. Many tribes, many ethnic groups, many languages, and so it's even probably ungovernable. But Biafra was also in the same problem. Had the same problem because we had minorities. Minorities wanted their freedom. The only difference is that in the case of Biafra, every province had its own provincial government. We had 10 of them. Provincial governments. So you decide what you want in your area.
Like a confederation system.
Like a confederal system. Now, but all these things will work if you have a frame of mind to accept other people's ideas too. Compare them with yours and don't rush into decisions. So that what is important is that we should put our own acts together. One is manpower development. Igbo should have it as first priority. Manpower development. And we are not doing badly. I have said so before. We are not doing badly. Most of the families in Igbo land, most of the families have doctors, lawyers, engineers, and all that. And they're used to developing their own home, which you don't find in other ethnic groups. That is why we should create a situation in which we are a beacon for the rest of Nigeria. And you know we can be a beacon for the rest of Nigeria, both women and men. But yeah, everybody wants to be this and be that and all that. And our people are rude. We should have some culture of politeness.
Thank you so much. It has been a wonderful time with Colonel Ben Bullier. It's a pleasure having him speak with such energy, even at his age. Some of you don't have that energy. And I want to tell you that I have these wonderful books right here written by our father, Ben Bullier. It will be made available, it's already available in bookshops. And BVI Channel 1 will also try to get copies of this and put on an online store where people can also access them. It's a pleasure to be with you, Father.
Thank you.
You are a living documentary. You are
The person I would really want to talk about now is Major Ademoyega. Adewale Ademoyega. He is a great, he was, because he's dead now. He died over 3 years ago in Lagos. But this is a man who did something and took responsibility for doing it. Where everybody was saying it's an Igbo coup, he said no, it's not an Igbo coup. And that he was one of the 3 principal actors. And that he even went to recruit people for that coup. The January 15 coup. And you know, he even asked how he went to Ibadan to recruit one of the majors. One of the majors happened to have come from Benue, and the man threatened Ademoyega. And he will report this matter to the commanding officer. And he said, Ademoyega said, no, you know, I'm joking. When you are getting somebody to participate in a coup and he says he's going to report, that is a terrible thing. So he said he was joking. And the man took him. Interestingly, Ademoyega is dead. He took part in that coup. The man I am referring to used to be a chief of staff in the Nigerian army. He's dead. He's dead. A lot of people who took part in that coup of January 66 are dead. A lot of them are dead. All right? So when they get to God's own kingdom, they will sort out their problems. And I don't mind when it will be my turn to join them, because I already made a case. I'll get some lawyers to prepare case, my own brief for me.
It's all right, sir. Now, finally, you fought in the Biafran army. You were part of Nigerian army before the war.
Yes.
You became a very important part in the Biafran army.
Yes. And in Biafra, I became military administrator.
Okay. And some men, women fall under your command. If I'm not wrong.
Oh yes.
Now, do you have anyone?
You know, no. Even okay. This is what I keep telling our people, Ndi Igbo. Most of the people who fought very well for Biafra were not Igbo. Like Major Achibong. Achibong is not Igbo. Major Achibong. Where do you think he comes
from? Either Cross River or Akwa Ibom.
Akwa Ibom. He was arguably the best soldier we had. Oh, there were others. One of the officers had a gunshot wound through his mouth, and this distorted his jaw.
Oh.
And eventually he was taken abroad and operated upon, but the marks are still there. All right. I know from that area too. So, and look at Effiong. Effiong needed not be in Biafra at all. But when he came back, he went first to Lagos. If you have read his book, came back to Enugu and met Ojukwu, and they teamed up and they started talking. It was he that went on a visit to to the various units and came back and told Ojukwu, I don't know what you're up to, because I haven't seen any arms, I haven't seen any troops, I haven't seen it. And Ojukwu said, don't worry, don't worry. I don't expect a war. I'm expecting a little skirmish. 2 or 3 days, it's all over. We go back to conference table. He was wrong.
Oh, thank you so much for refreshing us. And that is where we'll be wrapping it on this media chat with our father, Ben Bullier. Colonel, don't mistake that.
It's all right. Don't even have to give. You can even call me mister. It's okay with me. The thing is, I plead with young ones. Let them come and meet me, or let me be asked to come and meet them, so that we can talk.
All right.
We don't need to cause another civil war. One is enough in a lifetime.
All right. Thank you.